Basically, this video is a chance for me to have some fun and hopefully you to have some fun and learn some new words. You can challenge me. I probably will get some wrong, but I'm guessing I'm going to get more right than most people. Obviously, I am a 340 GRE scorer, so hopefully I do quite well, but if there's a mistake in this test, you will see it live. I'm not going to edit out any mistakes I make. So make notes as the video goes along. Challenge yourself, see if you can get more than me right. Okay, without further ado, the first one. Noun, improper or disrespectful treatment of something sacred. Out of these options, that would have to be sacrilege, and the clue is in the name sacrilege. It's linked to being sacred or attacking something sacred. You would say, oh, it's sacrilege to do that to a church or to a mosque. Let's see if that's right. That is right. Some of the other words look quite interesting. Progeny, meaning offspring or descendants. Accolade, a sign of approval or respect, like he won great accolades for his achievement. Cacophony is a great word. Phony is linked to sound. Cacophony means an unpleasant noise. So just think telephone is linked to sound. Cacophony is unpleasant noise. Anyway, let's go on. Having distinct limits. I would say determinate, because indeterminate means having no limit. His prison sentence was indeterminate. There was no set limit to it. So to be determinate means it's determined. We know what it is. It has distinct limits. As I say, I might get some of these wrong. I might not. Looks like there's going to be a lot of questions. Full of curves, twisting and turning. Ooh, that's a nice one. Sinuous. Linked to sinew, like in a muscle. A sinew is like, I think, a fiber of a muscle. So sinuous, full of curves, twisting and turning. It'd be funny if I got one of these wrong while I explained what the word meant. It's definitely possible. Harmful, hurtful, noxious. Ooh, that's hard. That could be perfidious. That could be deleterious. How do you pronounce that? Deleterious? I know they both mean doing something bad. Perfidious. Ooh, probably perfidious, because I think noxious, perfidy, deleterious. Wow, it could be either of those. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, acrid is also noxious. Oh my goodness, I'm stuck on question number 4. Ooh, what should I pick? What should I pick? The acrid smell? No, that's not hurtful. Deleterious, harmful, hurtful, noxious, perfidious. My perfidious enemy. I'm going to go for perfidious. It could well be wrong. Damn. Deleterious. So if you got that right, you're already beating me. So deleterious is harmful, hurtful, noxious. Perfidious, intending to betray. So I didn't know that. I knew it meant something bad, but apparently it's specifically intending to betray someone. It means perfidious. Acrid is kind of like noxious, like foul smelling, but it's more like sharp and bitter. There you go. I've got one wrong already. Okay. A trite statement. That's a platitude. So a platitude, you don't really mean it, it's just a platitude. That's what a trite statement means. You don't really mean what you're saying, you're just saying it for the sake of saying it. It's a platitude. Any other good ones? Potentate is quite fun. Potent means strength. You could say it's kind of linked to potential. He's got potential, he's potent, he's strong. So a potentate is a strong, powerful ruler. Something different from the usual or normal, that would be an aberration. It's not normal, it's an aberration. That's quite an easy one. But obviously, follow along, take notes if you're learning any new words here. You might need to obviously pause the video, rewatch it, because I'm going quite quickly for those people who do understand some of these words. Extravagantly wasteful. Ooh, I'm going to go prodigal. Prodigal, it's not apocryphal, not captious, I don't believe. Perfidious, we know it's betrayal. Clandestine means secret. Prodigal, like the prodigal son in the Bible. Someone who went off and wasted a load of money. Yeah. The prodigal son, someone who is prodigious at wasting. Linked to that word prodigious, which means exuberant, like a huge amount of something. A prodigious amount of waste, you'd be prodigal. Extravagantly wasteful. Characterized by proper manners and conduct. Ooh, decorous. From the word decorum. If someone has good decorum, they are decorous. Characterized by proper manners and conduct. Pertinacious, I'm not even sure, without looking, what does that mean? Pertinacious, determined? Holding firmly to a course of action, yeah, kind of determined, kind of linked to pertinent. But I probably wouldn't have known that one for sure. To stop up, to cut off the flow. That is to to stop up, incarcerate to put someone in jail, to stop up to cut off the flow. Ooh, could be occlude. Occlude, entreat, incarcerate. Incarcerate means to put someone in jail. To stop up, to cut off the flow. It's either occlude or incarcerate. Occlude is to cover up, I thought. Ooh, I'm going to go for incarcerate. I'm not into this is too wrong already, probably. Oh, yeah, so incarcerate to put in prison. Occlude, I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know. I thought it meant to cover something up, like to occlude the sun. But anyway, occlude apparently means to cut off the flow, to stop up. So you can see I'm not making these up. I managed to get a 340. I don't know every single word for sure in the world. To steal another person's money or property. These are hard. Peculate, just because I know the others don't mean to steal. Peculate, I know peck is like money, pecuniary, linked to poverty. So peck is similar to money. So there you go. These are hard. Although, I mean, some in the GRE at the highest level were like this. So don't think that these words couldn't come up. An amateur is a dilettante. Dilettante, they're just dabbling in something. They're not really serious, they're just an amateur, they're dilettante. To stall or act evasively in order to gain time. That would be temporize, because tempo is linked to time. So again, knowing the etymology of a word, and I've done a video on this, really helps me to understand the meaning. Tempo, time. So to stall or act evasively is to temporize. I might not get to level 5. This is going to take ages. Look, I'm still on level 1. Let's at least get to the end of level 1. Let's see how it goes. To support or adopt. To support someone... Yeah, I espouse a position, I support a position, I adopt a position. That's to espouse a view. Expedite means to speed up. Burgeon means to like begin. It was just burgeoning. Comport is like your behavior. Consummate is to make sure it actually happens. I'm going to go for espouse. Yeah, I espouse my position. I support or adopt a political position or a belief. To treat with contemptuous disregard. Flout. He flouted the rules. It just means he ignored the rules. He just did what he wanted. He treated everything with contempt, with disregard. Flouted the rules. Petty, nagging criticism. Carping. Carping. You can think of the fish, like the carp, and just go blah, 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 blah. It's a petty, nagging criticism, carping. Martinet, never heard of that. What was that? Is that bird? I thought. Someone who demands exact conformity to rules. Never knew that. Martinet, okay. A sorrowful poem or speech, elegy. An elegy. Often at a funeral, I think, elegiac. Like at a funeral, you'd read out a sorrowful poem or speech. Elegy. Sharpness or bitterness in language or manner. Acrimony for sure. I'm going to go for acrimony. Kind of, again, linked to that word acrid that we saw earlier. Acrid meaning sharp, and sharpness or bitterness in language is acrimony. Not sure how long I'll make this video. What I'll do is I'll probably do like 20 minutes, half an hour. See how people respond. If this gets a lot of likes, comments, I might do another one for the full level 5, because this is going to take me ages. Overly critical and complaining. That's going to be captious, I believe. Not ostensible, that means like seeming. Pellucid means clear. Inveterate, I think means like a veteran, someone who's done something for a long time. Insipid means just lacking in, I did a video on that one, like you sip it. It's just very, if you're lacking in interest in something, it's insipid, so captious. Yeah, insipid, dull, lacking flavour. Inveterate, was I right? Yeah, firmly established in a habit, like a veteran. Okay, captious. Overly critical and complaining. How would you remember that? I don't know. Captious, you'd have to invent a little rhyme. Overly critical, you're captious. Okay. To stop up, cut off the flow. We did that. That was occlude, wasn't it? Yeah, to stop up, to cut off the flow. And that's the benefit. This is quite a good quiz, actually, because it goes back to the ones you got wrong, so you got a chance to relearn it. A payment, the act of paying. Remuneration. That's, you often hear people getting paid loads and loads of money and they call it remuneration. They don't call it a salary. When you get to like £1 million a year, you call it remuneration. Kind of sounds like money, doesn't it? Muneration, money, payment, the act of paying. Caprice is quite an interesting word. A sudden, unpredictable or whimsical change, like the word capricious. If it's unpredictable, it's capricious, based on caprice. Unpredictable. Stupid or foolish in a self-satisfied way. Fatuous? Stupid or foolish in a self-satisfied way. Yeah, fatuous. Stupid or foolish in a self-satisfied way. Like if an argument is stupid and it's full of unnecessary elements, it's fatuous. A tranquil and secluded place. That would be a cloister, like in a monastery. They all gather in the cloister. It's very tranquil and secluded. An expression of disapproval, to criticize or disapprove of, to censure. Kind of linked to censor. You know, when you cut something out, you censor it. You're not going to show it because it's censored. So a censure is an expression of disapproval. Unconventional or unusual, eccentric. Someone who's eccentric does something differently, not in the normal way of doing things. Oh, he's just an eccentric, ignore him, he's unusual. An ancestor in the direct line. Progenitor, I believe, progenitor. I think gene comes from the word like genes, handing down your genes. Progenitor, an ancestor in the direct line. Something different from the usual or normal, an aberration. I think I've done that one already. Yeah. To do away with or make unnecessary, to obviate. If you make something so pointless as to be obvious, you obviate it. It's unnecessary. We don't even need it. It's obviate. We've obviated it. That's how I remember it. Of questionable authenticity, apocryphal. Just like the apocryphal books of the Bible. We don't know for sure whether they're authentic or not. They are apocryphal. The act of traveling an excursion, that would be a peregrination, traveling all around an excursion. Don't know how I know that. I guess you could think like peregrine falcon, it flies around a lot, so like it moves from one place to another. It's peregrination. I just made that up. The act of traveling and wait, I've just done that. That's embarrassing. Okay, to distribute or spread something, especially information. To disseminate, to spread around. Okay, seed, to spread something around. Stupid or foolish in a self-satisfied way. We just did that, fatuous. Done secretly, clandestine. You do things secretly if it's clandestine. Don't know how you'd remember that. I guess like you think of it like a clan of assassins. A clan of assassins destined to be secret. Clandestine. Done secretly. These are the kind of tricks I use to memorize words. Work or other matters regarded as the concern of women. I have no idea. Work or other matters regarded as the concern of women. I don't even know what distaff means. Pension? I mean, that is, if something's my pension or pension, that's kind of something that I like to do. But I don't know about the women, so I'm just going to guess distaff. I think I did this once on the GRE. I knew the others didn't link to it, so I just guessed this word. Distaff, I have no idea. Yeah, I didn't know that. Distaff means relating or regarded as the concern of women. Interesting. The act of traveling, can you tell me? Peregrination, like peregrine falcon. Just beginning to develop, lacking structure, inchoate. So if it's just beginning, it doesn't have any structure, it's kind of chaotic, inchoate, linked to kind of chaotic, it's just starting. It's just got in and it's chaos, it's inchoate. Just beginning to develop, lacking structure. Just did that, inchoate, hilarious. Descendants, offspring, followers. You could probably tell me, based on something I was saying earlier, but that would progeny. I think, so a progenitor is your ancestor and your progeny is your offspring. So that's interesting to remember. I'm learning stuff here. To behave well or properly, that is to comport yourself, I believe. You comport yourself well if you have good behavior, good manners. Yep. I made it to level 2. This is amazing. I am so excited. Should I carry on until level 3? Yeah, I'll get through level 2, see what people think, see if people find this useful, and then I'd carry on if I get enough comments and likes. Okay, so level 2. Is this going to get harder? Because that was hard already. Intending to betray. Perfidious. I think we saw that as one of our first words, perfidious. The use of tricks to deceive someone. Guile. Guile is, you're full of guile, you're full of tricks. Kind of linked to the word beguile, to trick someone. About to happen, it's imminent. It's imminent if it's about to happen. To explore an area and gather information, especially about enemy forces, reconnoiter. Yeah, I love that word. I used to read a lot about Napoleonic history, and they'd always talk about reconnoiter and reconnaissance. It's linked to reconnaissance. You're kind of scouting out an area. Okay, I'm on a roll. I haven't got one wrong in about 15 minutes. One who distrusts human nature is a cynic. You're cynical. Okay, do you reckon I can get to the end of level 2 without getting one wrong? You can write in the comments if you think I'm going to make it. Somebody who challenges established rules or beliefs. Ooh, that's tough. That's between pariah and iconoclast. I think it's iconoclast. So a pariah means someone who's like an outcast, which is kind of linked to this, challenging rules, but it's not quite good enough. And iconoclast is someone who breaks images. Like an icon is an image and clast is to break, I think, or to burn or something like that. So if you break or destroy an image, you're kind of a rebel, you challenge beliefs, you're an iconoclast. Bingo. Suspension of activity would be in abeyance. You put it in abeyance. We're not doing it at the moment. It's in abeyance. To make unclear, obfuscates. It's a really good word. I use it a lot. It's quite a hard level 1, but to obfuscate, to make unclear. Why are you obfuscating the issue? Can't you just speak clearly? The practice of indulging in casual sexual relations, that's going to be promiscuity, promiscuous. Dull, lacking flavour, that's insipid. We talked about that earlier. Very interesting words here we could talk about for hours. Hermetic, like a hermit, like a sealed tightly in like a monastery. Many interesting words, but obviously in the purposes of time, I'm just going to move on. Melancholy, gloomy, morose. Ooh, that's going to be saturnine, linked to the planet Saturn. I think people used to believe it maybe Saturn caused your mood to go down. It's saturnine. I kind of got it because the other words, pellucid means clear, sedulous means working very hard, diligently, decorous, decorum, good behavior, ephemeral, short amount of time. So yeah, saturnine had to mean gloomy. A privilege that goes along with a job, a perquisite. I was just saying this to a student the other day. It's kind of linked to the word perk. Okay, one of my job perks is that I get to use the free hair salon, right? It's like a privilege that goes along with a job. It's a perk. It's a perquisite. To proclaim or issue officially. Ooh, I'm going to go with promulgate. Proclaim or issue officially. I believe, yeah, you promulgate a view. That means you put it out there, which kind of is like to proclaim. Not eschew, that means to avoid. Palliate means to care for someone. So I'm going to go with promulgate. Cool. Swiftness is celerity. You do something with swiftness and great celerity. Kind of linked to the word acceleration, celerity. Not linked to celery, that's the vegetable. Lol. To do away with or make unnecessary, to prevent. I think we talked about that. Can you get it right? Obviate. Didn't give you much chance to get it right, but yeah, obviate. A scion. A scion is your heir, an heir to the throne, the scion of the family. Do you remember what cacophony means? Linked to sound, like a chaotic amount of noise, cacophony. Unnatural behaviour intended to impress, an affectation. You put on an affectation. It's not what you actually believe, but you're affecting that it is. You can think of it as like pretend affection. It's not real affection, it's affectation. It's like fake affection. Feelings of shame and regret, that would be compunction, I believe. Compunction. I don't really use that word, but I kind of know what it means. Feelings of shame and regret. A minor flaw or failing would be a foible. Oh, that's just a foible. Don't worry about it. It's just a foible. Yeah, I don't know what gamin means. Gamin, a child who roams the streets. Wow, gamin, never heard of that. To summon, to bring into being as if by magic. To conjure. A magician is a conjurer. They conjure things up. They summon it up. Hard to manage. Ooh, restive, kind of like restless. They're hard to manage, they're restive. Gregarious means talkative. Obsequious means kind of like, ooh, like ingratiating. You're kind of sucking up to someone. You're treating them really well, but you don't really mean it. Let's just check if that's right. Attempting to win favor by flattery and submissiveness. Yeah. So obsequious is a nice word. But anyway, restive is kind of like restless, hard to manage, like hard to control. To criticize severely, to excoriate. Yeah, you excoriate someone. He was excoriated. I'm not sure how you'd remember that. Excoriate. Coriate. Quite a hard one to remember, but excoriate means to criticize severely. Intense hatred is antipathy. So pathy means feeling and anti is against. Bubbling, excited, effervescent. It's bubbling up like a scent coming out of a perfume bottle. It's bubbling up, effervescent. Attempting to win favor by flattery, we just did that, so obsequious. To give back in return, to reciprocate. It's linked to maths, the reciprocal, where you flip a fraction, kind of like when you flip a favor, someone gives you a favor, you give it back, that's to reciprocate. To make thin or slender, to weaken or lessen in intensity, attenuate. Have you heard of a word called tenuous? It means kind of weak and like not firmly established. Well, this reminds me of that word. Attenuate, to make thin or slender. Attempting to win favor by flattery, I sort of just did that, obsequious. To attempt to dissuade somebody from doing something. That would be to, do I know? Attempt to dissuade somebody from doing something. Eschew, but that means to avoid yourself, doesn't it? Expostulate or ingratiate, to eschew. I'm going to go for eschew, but I thought that meant doing it yourself. I want to eschew that. To attempt to dissuade somebody else from doing something. He eschewed. To expostulate. Could be expostulate, I'm actually not sure. Expostulate or eschew. Expostulate. I thought expostulate just meant to put your argument across. But then that could be to attempt to dissuade somebody. I'm actually stuck. I'm going to go for eschew. Damn. Expostulate. To attempt to dissuade somebody from doing something. Wow. So I thought expostulate means to put your view across, but apparently it means specifically to put your view across when you're trying to dissuade somebody from doing something. One who feigns knowledge or ability, an imposter. That would be a charlatan. Oh, he's just a charlatan. He doesn't actually know anything. He feigns, he pretends knowledge or ability. He's a charlatan. An abrupt or curt in manner or speech. Brusque. Very abrupt, very brusque. The word itself almost sounds like rude, doesn't it? You're brusque. To imprison, to incarcerate. This is a hard one. I think this actually came up in my GRE. Immure. Immure means to kind of put a wall around someone. Or wall around something. To imprison, to immure. Using few words. Perfunctory. Quite hard to remember. But just like, I guess you can think of functional. It's not fancy, not using loads of words. It's just functional. It's just perfunctory. Just using a few words. Oh my goodness. Laconic. Perfunctory, done hastily and without attention to detail. Indifferent. Indifferent. Perfunctory. I guess I should have realized perfunctory could just be anything, not just speech. Oh, that task was perfunctory. His speech was perfunctory. I was just thinking, done hastily, just in general, you just do it quickly and you don't take much time. But then specifically when you're using few words, it's laconic, which I knew. I just didn't even look down there. Laconic, using few words, yeah. Got to concentrate. Overly critical and complaining. I think we just did that already. That was captious. An amateur. Do you remember this one? An amateur? Which one of those means amateur? Dilettante is an amateur. To stop up, to cut off the flow. I got this one wrong before, so I should know occlude. And occlude, to teach by frequent repetition. That is to inculcate. You force the view on someone, you inculcate into them what the view should be. I was inculcated into the belief in X. And I made it to level 3. There we go. That was almost half an hour. Who knows how many words I did? I lost track. Is that probably about 50 words or something like that? Maybe 100 words, I'm not sure. But anyway, I hope you remembered some interesting definitions from that, and more than that, I hope you saw some of the ways I remember words, often linked to their sound or their etymology, like I talked about in a previous video. If you did find this video useful in any way, please comment and like, and I will do another video, either from level 1 all the way to level 5, or just from level 3 all the way to level 5 to finish my thing. I think I made 4 mistakes, was it? 3 or 4 mistakes? And you definitely might be able to beat that. But it shows you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know every single word to necessarily get a 340. If you see those super long lists of words and you don't know every single one, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't get a perfect score. But I hope it gave you an insight into my rough sort of level and the way I think about words and learning new words. And certainly I need to keep learning. I need to keep improving with my vocabulary. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was useful, and have a great day.